Tim O'Malley with Pete Sampson atop Stanford Stadium. Last time we were here, a playoff berth was on the line for Notre Dame. Today, realistically, a Major 6 New Year's Day bowl. And Pete, I think the question most Irish fans have is which Notre Dame team is going to show up? The one we saw in September, October that was dominant, or the last 3 weeks where it's been a little different?
Yeah, it's hard to really get a feel. This is as unconfident that I've been about Notre Dame all season. I just don't really know what to expect. And between Brian Kelly, 8 straight road losses to ranked Power 5 teams, that's something that's significant tonight. David Shaw, 12-0 at home against non-conference opponents. I mean, there's a lot of statistics that would favor Stanford. For Notre Dame, I just keep coming back to, like, if you're not going to beat Stanford now here, when are you ever going to beat Stanford? Banged up Bryce Love, although Stanford revealed that he will play tonight. They have to win this game. Playoffs or no playoffs, just for the credibility of the season, you can underline it tonight. If you lose, then it just turns into more of a question mark.
And certainly Bryce Love banged up, we'll give it a go. Josh Adams, he's been banged up for a while, and obviously he's going to play, but I think it could come down to which one of those two can go longer. Josh Adams has a chance to, if not be fully healthy, no one is at this time, to be able to make it through the game. I think Bryce Love has really been battling that ankle for over a month now. Defensively, Notre Dame, they had a takeaway against Navy, but if you look back when they were rolling, their first 7 games recovered 11 fumbles. Since, they haven't forced one, and I think no matter how well they play on third down or in the red zone, at some point you have to force a turnover against Stanford and give your offense a shorter field.
Yeah, like Stanford, with the quarterback change, that's still a young guy with KJ Costello back there. You would expect that Mike Elko would be able to bait him into something tonight to force a turnover. I agree, like the turnover streak or mojo has sort of been lost a little bit for Notre Dame's defense. But I think fundamentally they'll play well on that side of the ball. I think if Bryce Love is healthy-ish, you have to, I think, account for maybe a couple explosive run plays. Other than that, if you're just fundamentally sound, and that comes down to Jalen Elliott, the linebackers, depending on who's in there at that time, I still think Notre Dame should win tonight, but the fact that my analysis of this game comes down to, like, just come on already, like, if not now, when, like, that doesn't give me a whole lot of comfort that I have a handle on what I'm actually going to see.
I have a little more of that, just come on already offensively, because you would assume that Stanford giving up almost 4.7 yards a carry, 170 yards rushing a game. They don't have a great pass rush like the Stanford teams in the past. I think they have 25 sacks. There's been some Stanford teams that have been in the 40s and 50s in the old party in the backfield days. This is not a Stanford defense that should be able to shut down Notre Dame. It's just what we've seen from the Notre Dame offense. It's so incongruent with what was going on when they were going to set the record for points per game in a season, and we haven't seen that in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's Brandon Wimbush. Mentally, what does he have tonight? Can't be first half Brandon Wimbush against Navy, against Stanford tonight at any point. Forget the first half. Even the first quarter, I think that will be too much for Notre Dame to manage. So if Wimbush can grow up a little bit tonight, play with some more maturity, then I think Notre Dame should be okay. I'm thinking like Michigan State Brandon Wimbush, where it's push the ball deep vertically, whether it's Stefferson or Claypool. We don't think it's going to be St. Brown tonight. That's a huge key for me tonight. Brandon Wimbush getting back to, like, the good version of himself from earlier in the year.
I think we both think it'll be a close game. Most observers do. Notre Dame's favored by 2 points. Sometimes in these games, special teams can play a role, and one thing to look at, there's about an 11-yard swing on kickoff coverage for Stanford and Notre Dame. Stanford's one of the best at returns, which is odd because it's Cam Scarlett just kind of bulldozing his way for extra yards. Notre Dame is poor in that regard. Stanford's very good at defending kick returns, so those hidden yards sometimes come into play in these matchups. Regardless, we'll be back post-game with instant analysis immediately, columns, interviews, and everything we have as number 8 Notre Dame takes on number 21 Stanford from Stanford Stadium.